So I hope the bodies are feeling great today. I have quite a few people out this morning, but we'll be watching on YouTube. So whenever you're joining with me, have a wonderful class today. Good morning, everybody. This is LisaBug Yoga for Resilience. We're working on resilience. And I mentioned that there are 4 types of resilience, but I also wanted to let you know that there are the 5 C's of resilience. So the first one is commitment. And I see that in the LisaBug community. When you make a commitment to do the classes as often as you can, maybe the videos later, that's going to help with your resilience. So commitment to what you're working on. The second one is control. And I find that when we work on control in LisaBug classes with our exercises, that leads to control in other things in our life. And David mentioned this on Tuesday in the chat, that he finds when he's isolating an area we're working on and he's looking for control in a certain area, he finds that the rest of his body is also fired up and in control. So one piece leads to all pieces. The third one is challenge. So we want to challenge ourselves, but staying within our comfort zone. Sometimes we can challenge ourselves and be beyond and maybe cause an injury or reflame an old injury up. So we want to challenge ourselves, but we want to know our edge and know our limits with that challenge. The fourth C is connection. And that's what we have with the LisaBug community. We have this connection with one another and with our classes, and that helps us to stay engaged and working on our resilience, even if we're not suffering from something that is detrimental in our lives right now. We have that connection. And I think that's why sometimes it's harder to get on and do a class that's pre-recorded than it is when we have our live class, because it's that connection. And then number 5, the 5th C is confidence. So most of us know that sometimes when we're coming back from an injury with my joint replacements, I did not have the confidence to do certain things. So we take it a little at a time. We build that confidence. Once we have it, we're able to really work at our full potential. So we'll be working on the 5 C's of resilience. So let's grab your ball. And we'll start with a little bit of a lymphatic warm-up here that's also Tai Chi oriented. So come into what we call right ball position, and you'll have your right hand on top of your ball and your left hand underneath. And I want you to press down into the ball with the top hand and up into the ball with the bottom hand. And then one of our Tai Chi poses, or forms it's called, is roll the ball. So what I want you to do is just roll your hands, and my hands are kind of spinning around on the ball a little bit, and then press down with the left hand on top and the right hand up. So as you roll, you have to release your tension a little bit so it can spin around in your hands, and then press. And let it spin around in your hands and press. Now, as you spin around in your hands, inhale. As you press, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now notice, are you pressing harder with one hand than you are with the other? I want you to make this equal. Now, next time you come into right ball position, right hand is on top, then step to the right foot and tap the left. So then as you let the ball spin in your hands, step out to the side, roll the ball, tap the right foot and press. Roll the ball and press. Inhale, exhale. Start to take this at your own pace. And I find that one of the C's of resilience that we're working on is control. Would you agree? There's a lot of things we're thinking about here: balance, stabilization, strengthening, posture. Let's do one more on each side. Great job. Now take the ball into your bottom hand, and then we're going to switch it here and take 3 steps to the left, and we're coming into that, what's it called? Waving hands like clouds. 2 and 1, and then switch hands, waving hands like clouds. 3. Boy, my brain just shut down for a second there. I've done this so many times, but having the ball in my hand really threw me off. Switch, waving hands like clouds. 1. Now squeeze the ball with your fingers. 2. And 3. Switch the hand, waving hands like clouds. So now once you have it, you can start to rotate your spine. You can start to look from side to side. Switch hands. And step 3. Oh, I'm really sad that Joyce isn't with us today. She was really requesting the Tai Chi coming into our lymphatic warm-up. But her arm is sore today. We're sending her lots of love. Great job. One more to each side. Waving hands. Squeeze the ball. Look side to side. Rotate. And then switch it. The bottom hand grabs it, and we move side. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Step out to mid stance. Press into the ball. We squat and come up. Now I want you to think about a few things here. We've done squats thousands of times, but I'm going to give you a few things to focus on. When you come up, squeeze your bum. Tighten the muscles of your glutes. When you come up, push your feet outward like you're going to tear the floor in half. And Chris liked that cue on Tuesday. And up. Now draw your core in. Exhale when you're coming up, drawing the core. Now make sure your shoulders are down and slightly retracted back. Then if you'd like to, add an arm raise, any amount. Let's do 5 more squats. And 4. 3, shoulders still down, good posture. 2. And 1, squat, hold, press into the ball and start your rotations coming from the lymphatic warm-up. So today for resiliency, I'm going to focus a fair amount on our spine. It's one of the areas of our body that, to be fair, is most frequently injured. And the lower back is typically the culprit when it comes to having back injuries. So what we want to do is, for resilience, we want to strengthen our back but not strain. We want to make our back flexible and mobile without hypermobile. We want to keep our vertebra really nice and strong so that our back muscles can support our upper body and our torso. Okay, come back to center and come up. Okay, let's set the ball to the side. I have a chair here I'm going to use for a standing cat and cow. If you don't have a chair, you can put your hands right on your thighs, but I do like using the chair. So bring your hands down, bend your knees a little bit, and try to find a neutral spine with your back. And then tuck your tailbone under, do a little pelvic tilt, drop your chin toward your chest, and round your back like a Halloween cat, really stretching. And then we'll reverse this to cow. So lift your chin forward, drop your belly down, lift your tailbone up behind you. So when we come up into cat, this is spinal flexion. And then when we come into cow, this is spinal extension. Now, if you have any back injuries, this particular exercise is really oftentimes prescribed by a physical therapist to help with mobility of the spine, gentle stretching, and keeping that lumbar spine flexible. Over time, it loses its flexibility in the lower back, and it's really hard to curve it upward this way toward the ceiling. Great job. One more time. Cat and cow. And then find your neutral spine. Now, if you flex forward and feel any pain in your lower back to be in this position, I want you to come up a little bit. So find a place where you feel pain-free here. And we are going to do a little modified thread the needle. So lift your right hand up, inhale, and then reach it through and exhale. Now you can certainly come down to your hands and knees for this, but I do like the standing version. Now with that arm too, you don't have to raise it up. If you feel any shoulder pain, you can put it on your shoulder. You can put it behind the back of the head. I kind of like this one. Gives me a really different stretch. Your knees should be bent. Let's do one more. Then come back, neutral spine. We'll take a break out of this position. So I just want you to stand up, let your hips come forward a little bit, and lift your heart up, draw your shoulder blades back. You can do that from your knees also in a little camel pose if you were doing thread the needle from your hands and knees. And then come back forward to your all fours. Inhale with the left arm or just the elbow, look to the left. Exhale, reach through. So our spine is doing several things. We're maintaining stabilization of the lumbar spine. So those lowest 5 vertebrae, L, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they cannot twist very much. So they are your stabilizers. So the lowest part of your back really should be pretty stable, while your mid to upper back is where this rotation is occurring. Let's do one more. The neck is also part of our spine, so we're warming up through the neck. Come back to all fours, and then we'll rise. And then if you'd like, you can take your fists to your lower back, open up your heart, let your hips come forward a little bit, lift your heart up into either a kneeling camel or standing camel. Then we'll come back to all fours and take a downward dog. So either using your chair or on your mat, step your feet back and take your down dog position. Now we want to find as stable as we can through our spine, as much stability as we can, while we're stretching the lats, latissimus dorsi, in this upper body reach. Make sure you're in a range of motion that feels okay for your shoulders. Now we're going to add a little action here. So coming forward toward all fours, Take your right foot and step it forward, and then push back into your down dog and stretch. Take your left foot, step it forward, and bring it back. Now, what I like about the chair is you don't have to have all your body weight up onto your hands. In fact, I can just take my hands away from the chair, and the shoulders are not as involved. If we're down on the mat, a little bit more difficult, or a lot more, depending on your body. So if I would come down to the mat, it's going to look more like this. Step and back and step and back. Let's do one more of each. I'm going to come back up and use my chair. I do enjoy this with the chair. Great job. And then step one foot forward and then the other. So we're coming back up to both feet. Take a little forward fold. Now what I want you to do is bend your knees pretty well. Keep your back neutral and just let your belly drop down toward your thighs. So the best thing to do to protect your back in a forward fold is to keep your back neutral and your core really engaged. So I'm going to show you the difference. Here I have a nice flat back. What we don't want to do is hunch and round and be like this. And if your hamstrings are tight, that's what's going to happen. So bend your knees as much as you need and feel a stretch up the posterior chain. You can come up any amount to make this feel okay for your lower back. I want that to be the primary concern here, is making sure your lower back can manage this. And then let's come up with a neutral spine. Inhale and reach any amount. Exhale into chair pose and bring the arms back behind your body and stretch the front of the shoulders. And let's create a flow. So standing, we inhale, the arms come forward any amount. We exhale and press back. Now, what I don't want you to do is press back and fold down, because that's not what we're working on here. We're working on chair. So you should feel strength in your legs, neutral spine, and we're working on mobility and resiliency of our shoulders. Let's do one more. Then we'll reach up, inhale. Just let your palms come together and drop thumbs into the heart, exhaling. Step your right foot forward, your left foot back, and this can be any length of a stride that you want. I want you to feel stable, bending your right knee, back leg straight, maybe a little turnout in your back foot. So this is our warrior one. What I want you to do is come into a very slow dead arms. So we do this typically in our lymphatic warm-up and in Tai Chi. So I want you to start to twist and twist and twist. So dead arms, when we do it in the lymphatic warm-up, is fast, and the arms are really relaxed, and they swing and they slap the sides of the body. But this one today is control. If you don't want to, you don't have to turn your head. So if you're struggling with balance, keep looking forward. Now, what I want you to think about is the arm that's coming back. I want you to pull that shoulder back. So pull it, and you're doing that by activating the muscles of your back. Then when you go to the other side, pull that shoulder back. So we're thinking about the side of the body that's drawing the torso backward. And again, the twisting is not occurring from your low back. Your low back here is keeping all of this solid while your mid to upper back drives this rotation. Let's do one more each side. Now, instead of focusing on the shoulder that's going back, I want you to focus on the shoulder that's going forward. So as you twist to the right, think about your left shoulder pushing forward and the right shoulder pushing forward. So now we're driving with the front obliques, where when we were focusing on the back side, we were driving with our posterior obliques. Now notice your pada bandha. That's your foot lock. You should be almost kind of gripping your mat with your toes a little bit and have a nice solid engagement into the floor with your feet, all four corners of the feet. Front shoulder. Front shoulder. One more each side. Okay, now you're going to focus on both of them. So you're going to be thinking about the back shoulder and the front shoulder. So both of them engaged. Both of them engaged. So we're thinking about the anterior or the frontal obliques and the posterior obliques. You can choose to turn your head or not. Two more. One more. And back to center. Step your feet together. Whoo! I felt a lot of work for the grounding in the hips and the thighs and the core. Maybe do a little shake out of everything. Just take a second for some of those feelings to dissipate. And then keeping your feet about hips distance apart, step the right foot back, left foot forward. Find your stance. Make sure your feet aren't behind each other, because then you're going to feel really wobbly. So you're on railroad tracks, not a balance beam. Engage your core, shoulders back. Think about your head position in neutral, and just start your dead arms. And I don't want you to really think about, you know what's coming up, but I just want you to do this. Just do it. Side to side with our dead arms. And maybe notice that you can turn a lot further to the right side than you can really to the left, because when you turn right, this is in an open twist. In regards to the front leg, when you turn to the left, it's a closed twist. So you might be feeling that. So now we're going to focus on the back shoulder. So as you twist, pull the shoulder back. Pull the shoulder back and feel where you're firing your muscles in the posterior obliques, also in the spinal extensors a little bit, and the QL, quadratus lumborum, the muscle in the low back. But your low back is not twisting. That's your stabilizer. Back shoulder. Back shoulder. One more of each. Great. Pause for a moment. Now change your mind to focus on the shoulder moving to the front. Front shoulder. Front shoulder. And I shouldn't just say shoulder, because it's our entire torso, but we're just changing where we're focusing on the effort in how our spine moves. And our posterior and anterior obliques work together as a team, but we can certainly, with our thoughts, can focus on where we want to drive that work from. Front shoulder, one more. Then come back to the center. Now you're going to combine your thought process and your effort by focusing on both. So front torso and back torso. at the same time. Do you feel more power now coming from this effort? Or maybe do you feel more stable coming from this combined effort? Although we've done quite a few of these, so you might be feeling a little bit of fatigue with or without the turn of your head, front shoulder and back shoulder. 2 more. And I'm putting the exhale on the twist. 1 more. And come back to center. Step in and check in. Maybe shake everything out. Great job. Okay, I'd like you to grab one of your light weights. What I have here today is a 3-pounder. But anything you'd like to choose. This is going to be for a tricep kickback, working on the resiliency of our shoulder and the upper arm. So I would like you to take your right foot forward toward the chair and bring your left hand so you have opposing hand and foot contacted with a surface. Lift your left leg up, your right elbow up, square off your hips and shoulders, tighten your left gluteal muscle, really strengthen and extend that left leg long, and then straighten the right arm and bend. And we're only bending to 90 degrees. So I have a few pet peeves when it comes to exercising. And one of them is when I see people doing this when they do a tricep kickback. It's a kick back, not a kick forward, right? So we want to just come here to 90 and go back. And I must say, I was watching a little commercial with one of the icons of fitness herself. Oh gosh, I'm going to forget her name just because I'm talking about this. Denise Austin. Did you guys watch Denise back in the day? So she's got a new commercial out where she's selling her classes probably. And she was doing tricep kickbacks like this. And I said, Denise, oh my goodness, girl, what's going on here? Now, doing that will not injure you, but it's not going to give you a great benefit. It's kind of cheating. And we've done probably 25. So let's take a break, lower that leg down, and come up. So working on resiliency of the back of the arm, the tricep. Switch the weight to your left hand. I'm going to bring our left foot forward. Right hand goes to the chair. Lift that leg up any amount and get a good stance first. And I don't want you to use your arm very much. I want you to use your core. So resiliency of the core here. Bring that left elbow up. We straighten and bend without swinging forward. Good. Sometimes when I'm teaching body pump, I'll see people doing it, swinging it forward. And you know why? Is because they picked a weight, in my opinion, that was way too heavy. And so they have to, in order to get their arm straight, they have to swing it forward and get momentum. So again, it's not bad for them, but they're just doing a disservice. And it's amazing if we do things right and with control and with intention, we don't necessarily need heavy weights. It's just kind of, for some people, they're driven by heavier and heavier and heavier, regardless. But that's not what we need sometimes, right? Light weights with good form equals, in my opinion, a better outcome. So are we getting up there maybe around 25 or so, give or take? Let's do 2 more. And a number is just a number. You're doing what you can to build resilience in your body. Okay, let's step forward and rise up. Okay, keep this weight with you and your ball, and we are going to come down onto the floor. So take your time to get there. Matter of fact, I'm going to grab a little drink of water. And what you'll also need is your heavy resistance band as an option to go around the legs. So we're going to be focusing on several muscles that we need to use to help us with core conditioning and engagement, and also with the glutes, the hips. So this will help us with our lower back resiliency. Okay, so one weight, your ball close by, and an option to place a heavy band around the thighs just above the knees here. Okay, so take your time to come on down. I also have a little pillow behind my head, so my head's in neutral. Now, always, if exercises bother your back, you can keep your feet on the floor. You don't need to lift your knees up to tabletop. So I want you to do what feels best in your lower back. Now, for now, just do a little bit of a pelvic tilt and push your low back down into the floor. And we're going to start to lift one leg up, set it down, lift the other up. So we're putting a little bit of stretch on the band. Now, oftentimes when we're doing work with the bands, we're thinking about what the leg that's lifting is doing. It makes sense because that's what we call the prime mover. But I also want you to think about what the other leg is doing to stabilize. If you took class with me on Tuesday, we did the split stance and we did an overcoming isometric by pressing the right leg forward and the left leg back, if you remember that. So I want you to apply that to this. So as your right leg comes up, I want you to push your left leg down in the floor and tighten your hamstring and glute, and then switch. Almost to the point where it feels like you're going to come up into a bridge, but you're not. You're pushing down with one leg while you're pulling up with the other. Okay, so we've got this, yes? Feeling pretty good about it. So let's relax for a second. Grab your light weight. So we're going to take that arm up, bend the elbow to where it's at about 90 degrees, and I want you to hold this here. This is an isometric exercise for the tricep. And then go back into the work that we were doing. Lift one leg while you're pushing heavily down into the other. This is not an overcoming isometric, it's a yielding isometric because we're holding a movable object. And let's do 2 more on each leg. One more on each leg. Good. Now straighten that arm. Come up into a second isometric. Lower your arm down a bit, about halfway, and feel the front of your shoulder working. Now I want you to find a pain-free range of motion. So if you kind of have to move it around a little bit, hold that shoulder exercise. Now come up into a bridge. Pressing down with both legs. And if you feel comfortable, now do your marching bridge. Up, up. So much harder, right? So if you're feeling any pain in your lower back, keep your hips down on the floor. Now, if you need your right arm to kind of help you stabilize, that's okay. So we've got a yielding isometric for the left shoulder while we're doing our marching bridge lifting against the band and pushing the other foot down into the floor. Let's do one more each side. And rest, come on down. Just relax. Maybe give yourself a couple little shoulder rolls on that left arm. Okay, I need to adjust my band a little bit. So now let's go. Keep your hips down, push your lower back down into the floor. Bring your right arm up with the weight, bend that elbow to about 90 degrees. Hold that yielding isometric, and then come into your leg raises. And I want you to think about pushing the foot down and push it down. Same time, you're thinking about the other leg pulling up. So they're doing opposite work. Your right arm is getting a yielding isometric for the tricep, which was the muscle that we worked in our kickbacks. 2 more on each leg. Good, 1 more each. Pause and relax, bring that arm down, give it a break. And then we'll take the arm, extend it straight, and lower it to a position where you feel work in your shoulder, but no pain. And if that means that you need to do no weight and just do this, that's okay, because you're still going to have benefit. And then come up into bridge. And we'll do our marching bridge, lifting with one leg, pushing down with the other. And that's where we breathe out. Exhale. Exhale. It's really a challenge if you don't use your left arm to help you counterbalance. And remember, you can keep your hips on the floor. You've got that version. You know how to do it. Nice job. Yielding isometric for the right deltoid. Pushing down into the floor, working the hamstring and glute. Pulling up, firing the hip flexor and the quad. Good. Let's do 1 more on each leg. And come down. Relax. Set your weight down. Maybe roll your shoulder around a couple of times. So I want you in a position where you're working the left arm again. And then I want you to roll over to your right side. I'm actually going to turn to face you so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to do switch arms. So you're going to be laying on your right side with the weight in your left hand. And I'm giving you the mirroring cues. So let's do rotator cuff come up and back in front of the body. Find a good range of motion for you for your rotator cuff. Work a little bit of resilience there. And I know there's some folks in class that have issues with this. So if you need to do it with no weight, I want you to at least do whatever range of motion you can do that's pain-free. And then we're going to add a side leg raise. So extend the top leg out. We'll lift it up and lower it down slowly and add that to your rotator cuff action. And lift and lower. So we don't need a lot of weight with rotator cuff work. It needs to be pretty moderate, even light. We have 4 and 3, 2. Now, if you need a break, please take it. Otherwise, we're going to do a yielding isometric on both of these exercises. So lift that arm up a little bit, lift the leg up a little bit, and we're going to hold 15 seconds, 14, 13, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, breathing, 4, 3, 2, and rest. Great job. Now take that top arm, relax your weight to the floor, and we're just going to make a nice backward moving circle with that arm. Any range of motion that feels okay for you. Just 5 of these. Your hips are stacked, your shoulders are stacked. Once you get 5 slow circles moving backward, reverse it and go the other direction. 5. Pain-free range of motion. Not feeling any pain in that shoulder. 2 more. Great job. Is your ball within reach? I gotta snag it a little bit with my foot. So what I want you to do is bring the ball in front of you, take your hand on it, and push down. 15, 14, 13, 11, 10. Keep pushing down. 8. Kind of an overcoming isometric here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax it. Okay. Turn to the other side. So you're going to be laying on your left side. I'm going to turn around so I can face forward. Keep your ball close for that last exercise. Taking your weight now in your right hand for your rotator cuff work. So your elbow stays tucked in and we rotate out. Now, yours might look different than mine because maybe your range of motion is different. So perhaps you're just coming up halfway. So don't force yourself to come up to the range I have. Take the range you have. Go slow and controlled. Even without the weight, I want you to keep going as long as you feel no pain. And then we'll take the top leg, extend it out, and we'll lift and lower and add that to your rotator cuff work. And we're looking for 8 repetitions. 7. Now resist the rubber band if you're using it when you come down, because we're putting some pull on the band, so it would very easily bring your leg down on its own, right? So resist the band. 3, 2, and 1. And then a yielding isometric. Bring it up a little bit with the arm, up with the leg, holding. 15, 14, breathing. 12, 11, no pain. 10, 9, make modifications or adjustments. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax it down, stack your knees, release the weight, and then we'll go back and around 5 nice arm circles. This is just mobility. No pain. Just a gentle, light stretch through that range of motion. Good, and reverse it. I love seeing your arm floating up there, Chris. When your arm comes around, you can give me a little wave. 3, good job. 2 more. I always appreciate those of you that enjoy turning on your cameras from time to time. And 1. Okay, now we're doing the overcoming isometric, by using the ball, putting it in front of us, and push down. Give yourself a challenge here. 15, 14, 13, 11. Tighten your core. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and relax. Great job. Set your ball off to the side. We're going to press up to a seated position and remove your band from the thighs. So I'll give you time. You know, sometimes it takes a bit to make those transitions. And then we're coming to a seated position. I always like sitting up on a blanket. You can use a block. Wonder what it would be like to sit on the ball. That might be a nice challenge, right? So let's sit tall, and I want you to think about the lumbar spine that's responsible for stabilization. Keep it nice and stable. Keep both sitting bones pressed down into the mat. Then we're just going to flow through a flowing side bend. So one arm will come up, and then the other one comes up. So how we're going to change this is now adding an overcoming isometric with the bottom arm. So as you side stretch over to the left and your right arm is up, push down into the floor with your left hand. And it's only about a second or two. I want you to drive that hand down into the floor. And we've got one more way in which we can activate our triceps and our shoulders. So we did the tricep kickback in the standing bird dog position. We did the isometric for the tricep, holding that at about 90 degrees when we were laying on our back and doing our bridging. We pushed into the ball and did that overcoming isometric. And now this one. So we're focusing on resilience, muscle power, strengthening, commitment. I'm going to go through those 5 C's again. Commitment, control, always control when we're exercising. Challenge, challenging ourselves within our own ability. Connection, connecting with each other in the LisaBug community. And the last one is confidence. Find the confidence in your body to be able to do this work at your own level. Let's do one more each side. Push down, push down. And come back up to neutral. Relax. Just relax the shoulders. We'll do some just gentle neck rolls. So start by tipping the right ear to the right shoulder. Drop the chin down toward the chest, around to the left. And then as you come up, we're not going to toss our head back, but I want you to increase the length of the front of your neck. And we'll go around again, same side. And go slow so you can find any areas that might feel a little poke or a little tightness. And move gently. Let's do 2 more. That'll give us about 5. And 1 more. Then bring that right ear toward the right shoulder. Take your right hand and give yourself just a little gentle massage on the left side of the neck. You can do some pressure, just hold it in a spot and push gently, or you can rub out, just find any little knots that you might feel there. Great. And then release it. Let your head float back up to neutral. Anytime I do that, I feel like my head's still hanging over that direction. I feel like the left side of my neck is longer. So let's do your circles. To the left first, and down, to the right, and then lengthen the front of your neck. 5 slow circles. Are some of those tight spots loosening up a little bit? Are you finding different ones than you did going the other direction? Last time around this way, maybe close your eyes, just bring your awareness internally. And then tip your left ear toward the left shoulder, bring your left arm across, and give yourself a little massage. You can even bring your right arm behind your back a little bit too. That might give you a little more pre-stretch on the side of your neck and along the front of your shoulder. For me, this side is not nearly as tight or sore or tender. And the reason sometimes is the way we sleep. And we do have a tendency to, revert to a certain way we sleep, which might over time cause some imbalances in the tightness on one side of our neck. All right, release that, come back to neutral, just check in. Then we're going to take our whole spine around to the right, forward, to the left, and up. So now it's a little bit of a stir the pot. So this is coming from the lower back area, lowest part of the mid back, and into the hips. And we're looking for about 5. This is the 5th one for me. And then pause and reverse it around. You can also change the cross of your ankles or the position that you're sitting in at any time. Just noticing again for any areas that have some tension, tightness, and releasing that. Your neck can become part of it as well, and your shoulders. One more time around this way. And then just reach forward with your fingertips any amount and stretch the low back very gently. I feel this also in the hips and in the glutes. And then we'll walk the hands back in. We'll prepare to close our practice by taking one nice expansive breath together. Bring the palms down to the sternum, our Anjali Mudra. It's our sign and symbol of honor and gratitude. And I am so grateful for all of you in the LisaBug community and beyond. The light in my heart honors the light in the hearts of each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll turn off our recording and I'll meet you back in my other little space there. If you can stay If not, let's see. Next Thursday is we're off that day for the Christmas holiday. So I hope to see you on Tuesday of next week. All right, I'll be back in 2 shakes.